Okay. Okay, so this presentation is going to be about the youth double wing, and specifically about the power series, and more importantly about the power plays. How I coach them, how I scheme them, and how I vary them within the offense, and how I tailor them to our kids specifically. This presentation is actually going to be one of the presentations I give at the Youth Double Wing Clinic in Allen next weekend. So you're going to be kind of getting a, a presentation from that lineup. So in the power series, the way I split things up is I split them up in power plays, counter plays, ISO plays, and play action passing. And the reason why I do that is because initially I always teach the power plays first, and then within the power plays I also teach wedge plays. I'm not going to talk about the wedge plays tonight. I'm specifically going to talk about power sweep, those two elements only. And then in a following presentation, I'll talk about play action pass and the wedge, and that there's more than enough topic here tonight to cover what we're going to cover tonight. So there's three main concepts that really make up the power pod of the power series, and that's obviously the off tackle play, which what we're doing there is we're going to down block inside, kick out blocks on the outside, and then essentially overwhelm the point of attack with more numbers than the defense can handle. At the point that the defense starts squeezing inside and reducing their perimeter down to 2 or less, we're going to start looking at our power sweep concept, which I call power wide. I've actually changed my play calling structure a lot. I don't change anything without actually looking at every possible angle to changing, and I've been wanting to change our play calling structure for quite some time, but I wanted to make sure when I made the change that I can incorporate a lot of the things I wanted to do, one of them being able to apply all the tags that I like to use and keep everything as simple as possible. So starting this year, I'll be incorporating a new play calling structure, so everything you see in here is based on a new play calling structure as well. So we're using basically the same offense. It's actually the same offense I've been running for 10 years. I'm just changing some of the play calling structure, really to make it easier for the coaches and the kids, and to be able to simplify adjustments, which is one of the problems you run into when you start using multiple formations and tags and things like that. You've really got to start taking a hard look at how you're going to simplify things so that the language you're speaking into the kids, they get real quickly what you're trying to tell them. And one of the important things I'd bring up here is when you do this, just make sure all your coaches are talking to your kids in the same language. It's really important, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams. You all want to be speaking on the same terms, so that way if a coach says power wide, another coach isn't saying, quick pitch or toss. It's power wide, or it's power sweep. The terminology is all the same. So there's a lot of things that we went back to a more basic structure of speaking to the kids. I used to use seal and kick, and that was because of a couple teams we had. It was just easier to really pinpoint the pulling guard and tell him specifically what he needed to do. But over time, I started thinking about going back to a more power counter concept, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. So I just wanted to bring that up when we go through this tonight. So if you're expecting to see seal or kick or wide or things like that, just understand that I changed up the play terminology so that I could simplify our tagging system. So obviously, we're talking about power. The next step is when we see 2 or less, we see power. We're going to go outside, which we call power wide. That's just essentially one gap outside. So when we run sweep, we're not looking to run all the way to the sideline. And that's a really important coaching point for us. When we start talking sweep, we're really talking about attacking the heels of the wing back, getting vertical on the first daylight. And that's something you got to really preach to the kids, that when we teach our power sweep, and I'm going to talk about this tonight, they're going to go flat, and then they're going to accelerate to about 75-80%, and then as soon as they get past the wall side tight end, they see daylight, they're going to go vertical. They're going to take one step, go vertical, and attack that daylight.